Thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Tristan. I'm with Tristan Wrights, and today what we're going to discuss is the top 5 mistakes new fountain pen users tend to make. From my perspective, the good thing about fountain pens is they have a very unique writing experience. Most fountain pens have a lot of feedback, and a lot of times when you're using fountain pens, people tend to gravitate towards, the cursive writing and the calligraphy of it all. And that is very commendable, but that is not the only way that you can use a fountain pen. Me personally, I tend to like to use my fountain pens for journaling and just for everyday note taking. And I think that is a very, basic use for fountain pens. I prefer to use fountain pens every day. And so from my perspective, I think that I've built up a good idea of the top mistakes that people make when they buy fountain pens, especially when they're getting into fountain pens. And some of the mistakes that I've made, I'll let you guys know. And so this will be a guide for new fountain pen users to help them avoid like some of the common mistakes that come with buying fountain pens or getting into the fountain pen hobby. Choosing the right fountain pen, the one that fits your size, the type of writing style that you want to do, as well as your budget, is an extremely important and often overlooked idea or topic that new people tend to forget. One of the things that I think that a lot of people tend to forget about is one of the things is like materials and filling mechanism. A lot of times there are 3 or 4 types of, let me rephrase, there are multiple ways to fill a fountain pen. You have the international converter, the piston filler, the vacuum filler. There are some eyedroppers. They have some other mechanisms as well, but one of the most common ones are the converter, the cartridge converter, the piston, and the vacuum fill. And all of that really means is just how you fill it up. And I think for a beginner-friendly fountain pen, one of the easier things to use is the piston filler, because it's all-in-one. It's a demonstrator. You can see how much ink you have left in it. You can see the color of your ink. It's a very visually pleasing type of filling mechanism, and it's one of those things where like if you see it, out of sight, out of mind, and then if you see it, you can visualize it. And I think that is the beauty of having a piston filler or a vacuum filler as well, because a lot of vacuum fillers are demonstrators as well, and you can see it. The difference about the vacuum fill that I say is just how you fill the pen itself. And when it comes to filling the pen, especially for like the Twisbys, you can use like the Twisby Vac 20A bottle, where you can flip it over and get like a full fill in your vacuum filler pen. And I think that is one of the huge things that, one of the huge benefits of a vacuum fill pen, because you have a lot of ink capacity, right? And one of the things about the, especially like the piston fillers, is you have a large ink capacity as well. When it comes to cartridge converters, it just basically makes it, you have multiple pieces, and it's one of those things where like you can't see your ink well, right? So you don't know how much ink you have in it, and you kind of forget. Another thing that people tend to forget is the type of nib size they want. And there's a bunch of nibs. I know Pilot has, I want to say one of the, I think it's the 912 has like, I want to say almost 8 to 10 different types of nibs. And I think that is something that's very important as well, just to keep it pretty basic and go with something like an extra fine, or medium. I would stay away from broad, double broad, music nibs, falcon nibs, things like that, because it just doesn't make any sense to use those type of pens, especially for a beginner, in my opinion. One of the next things that people tend to forget about making fountain pens or buying their first fountain pen, one of the mistakes they make is choosing their ink. And one of the things that even I fell victim to is overbuying ink, buying too much ink and not really realizing like how much ink is in your ink well or in your ink bottle that you're actually using, right? Because everybody wants like the ink to be super cool, like they want like a really nice ink, but for like your first fountain pen, one that you actually intend on using, I recommend getting like a blue, black, or red ink. Just keep it basic, keep it fairly simple. And in the blue, black, and reds, there's a ton of ink choices, especially from One of my personal favorites is Diamond, and they have a ton of ink, like the Oxford Blue. If you've seen my channel, the Oxford Blue is my favorite, and it has like this red sheen to it. Birmingham Ink has a couple inks. I want to say it's Ultramarine and Tesla Coil, and like they have a really nice sheen to it. Alchemy has a blue ink, but theirs is very limited edition, and they come in those very cool potion style bottles. And that's one of those things that like you should get, you can look into like if you want that. But one of the things that I always say, stay away from, one of the common mistakes I see, and that's like the most important, is just trying to get something that you can be okay with using every single day. And when it comes to filling your ink, you're gonna get messy. When you fill a pen with ink, you're probably gonna get it on your hands. One of the things that I would never recommend doing, and is never recommended, is never use alcohol to like clean your pen, because it's gonna stretch it out. But alcohol or hand sanitizer is good to get ink off of your hand. That's one of the that's just a quick side note. And it's very visually appealing, like seeing your ink, because it's just putting ink to paper. It's very visually appealing. It's beautiful. You're like, oh, I really like this. And some people get caught up in like the handwriting of it, and I just think that just write, and whatever happens, right? You can fix handwriting later. You can practice on that, but just get it and write. Another thing that people really forget about when they're starting their fountain pens, or one of the mistakes they make, is using an incorrect grip. One of the things you want to do is you want to keep basically like the breather hole of the nib, you want to keep it pointed up towards you, right? So you want to be able to see the entire nib. And when it comes to seeing the entire nib, you want to like at a certain angle. And some pens have grips that help with that. I know the TWSBI Eco has a grip that helps, like it has a triangle grip. So does like the Lamy Safari. It's a triangle grip pen as well. And one of the things that you want to stay away from is flipping the nib over where you can see the feed. You want to keep the nib down on the paper, and just write. Not a lot of pressure. Just enough. It's like writing with a ballpoint pen in a sense, but you don't want to like bear down on it. When you get into like flex nibs and things like that, like you can see, or like other softer nibs, you'll see like some flex and some feedback from it. But just with basic stainless steel nibs and stuff like that, you just use them regularly, and don't worry about like writing too hard and stuff like that. That's usually just something that, like, if you don't put a lot of pressure on it, it'll pour ink on the paper still. You'll enjoy the writing experience. One of the other things is maintaining your pens. When you maintain a fountain pen, what you want to do is, I'm not a big proponent of over cleaning your pens and over filling your pens and constantly washing them out. I've personally found from my personal experience that I keep one pen and one ink combo, right? So if I buy a new pen, I'm going to use a particular ink that I already have it here. But when you're new and you're buying it, I would say like just use the ink. And like if you use your pen regularly, then you don't have to worry about it drying out and becoming like all crusty and gritty and stuff like that. But if that does happen, what you can do is just use plain warm water and clean it out. Just take it apart. There should be a manual when it comes with your pen. There should be a manual to tell you how to take your pen apart. Or if you've been watching videos on YouTube, you should know how to take apart the pen that you're looking for, and just take it apart and let it sit in some warm water. Get you some paper towels. It's gonna be a little messy, but I mean that's part of the fun of it, right? And just take it out and clean it. And you're just gonna use you can take the nib apart, take the feeds, clean all the ink out of it. Make sure you get it as dry as possible. I found honestly that like a lot of times people you see they like clean pens, they have water in it, especially in like those piston filled pens. What you want to do, what I found was like just take it all the way apart, and either run like a Q-tip or a paper towel through it, or just shake it out. That's what I've done in the past, is just like shake it out, shake all the water out, and just let it dry out, or just let it dry like you would do in a dish rack. And not put it in a dish rack, but just put it down in like a cup, like an art brush, and just let it dry before you refill it again and put it back together and refill it. And then just keep it pushing, like fill it back up with a different ink or the same ink or whatever the case may be. Key takeaways from this is, one of the things is like there's no right fountain pen for you. There's no right fountain pen for everybody. So the only thing is it's your personal preference, whatever you like. If you like TWSBI, if you like Pilot, if you like Monteverde, or whatever the case, whatever pen it is that you find that you like, make sure you get that pen. Get the pen that appeals to you, and you don't want that pen to be something that somebody recommended you from online, and you're like, oh, I really don't like this pen, and then next thing you know, you end up buying a bunch of pens that you don't like. So if you're a Sailor person and you like the Sailor pen, go for it. If you like TWSBI like I do, go for it. Just make sure that like you're buying the pen for you, and make sure you're buying the right ink for you. Like I said, I'm a diamine person because that's just the ink that I've had good luck with. I've never really liked the Pilot ink per se, but again, that's just my personal opinion. That's just how my particular writing style. Even if you guys have any questions, please leave a comment, because I'm always in the comments. I respond all to, I try to respond to every single comment I get in my videos. I'll answer whatever questions you have, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel for more fountain pen content. I got some other videos coming out. I got a lot of things planned, and we're working towards, getting to 1,000 subscribers. And I really appreciate everybody. Make sure you like the video, because that really helps out for the algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.